Hi everyone, happy spring break. This week is my spring break from my school. So I'm just happy about that, to be on a break and to be able to just catch up on everything else I have to do. Um, and being able to do my assignments and not my head not hurting. So I'm just happy about that. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and start and I'll try to do as best as I can. Um, I think that's kind of funny to say, but okay. So we have to talk about making a transition from our counseling program. Um, so for this week, we had to discuss resources, supports that we think are critical for an effectively transition into a comprehensive program. I was just going over in the book, and it says things that would be effective to be able to transition your program would be the focus on special projects. For example, this kind of well, I'll go to that a little bit, but right here, special projects would be what do you want to create in your school community, in your school building, and make it special. For example, we have a new principal. Well, technically, we got this new principal in October, but she was our CA last year, and which was also funny because her sister was our principal when that was my first year at that school, like 4 years ago. But anyways, what I'm saying is that this new principal, she's very passionate about her job. um, but for example, a special project, she has created this little posters for each hallway. There's three main hallways where the classes lead into, and my hallway is the letter E, and then the next one's F, and the last one's G. And so she put the hallway E is E for excellence, and then F for fearless, G for greatness. And I was talking to her about it the other day, that I had noticed that she had done that because she hadn't made an announcement on it, but I had noticed it, and it reminded me kind of the Ron Clark whole system. I'm not sure if you all have heard of it. When I was starting going into teaching, I loved Ron Clark, and I loved reading all about that. So I thought she was going to try to do that, like where they implement a house system, where they build community and stuff like that, and the kids follow that house. But no, she wasn't trying to do that. She was just saying, oh, like the letter E for excellence. So she said that this kind of goes with a special project. Maybe it's not super big project, but it's something that adds to the school community and helps the kids connect to their hallway. Oh, I'm in hallway E. I'm excellent because I'm in the letter E hallway. And she said, so right now she has posters, but she said that later on she does want to get like a banner to put over like the little hallway as you go in there. So I thought that was cool. And so I think that kind of goes with special projects that the counselor could also work alongside with, not only the principal. Okay, excuse me. And then the next part was federal and state priorities. I think this one's a big one because I know that as teachers we get we're allowed a budget from and for our classrooms each school year at our district, and so we get to create either an Amazon wish list, Lakeshore, Walmart, and just what we need for our students for our classroom for that school year, the materials we need. But going back on, maybe the counselor could be a little bit more involved in this because she could kind of make, if there's an extra room or something, or invest in something to be able to give back to the students so that they could be able to feel comfortable and feel seen, kind of like a safe haven for them. And then I'll go to the next part. Another one was building level changes. I think this is really good, and it really goes with the counselor duties because a lot of the times, for example, the model counselors are supposed to be doing 80% counseling duties, but in reality a lot of them are not doing that because of one, the shortage, the counselor, the school population in the classroom, I mean in the school, and so on. But I do have something to share with this for I'll say that right now, but building level changes, and I think that goes along with making sure that everyone is in their assigned duties and everyone has a role they play during dismissal and things like that, even testing, monitoring, and stuff like that. And this is a big one for counselors. this year we have had lots of issues in our school. We have actually come out on the news, on our local news, with issues that are going on at our school, which my whole, I won't go into too much detail, but in my whole years of teaching there, we have not ever had this issue. And I have taught upper grade for 2 years that year. I did 3rd and 5th. But this year, there's just a lot of bullying going on in the upper grades. My counselor was telling me, and my principal was telling me, and so this has led to their response to that event was my principal sent out an email. I'm assuming that they met all admin and with their area director, and that the counselor has to, a lot of the times they were referring disciplinary actions to her, and a lot of testing coordination. So she did say, well, she still has to kind of be the testing coordinator because that's what the district has our counselors doing. But for as far as building level changes for this, the behavior reports and stuff like that, the principal did say to hand over that information, forward it to the principal and to the CA, so that the counselor could be able to focus more on so that the counselor could focus more on counseling sessions with the students. They also did have like a whole grade level meeting with all the students in that grade that were having a lot of the bullying issues. I wasn't present because I was in my classroom, but how I wish I could have been present, and I look forward to next school year when we do our internship. So that when all this was going on, I just couldn't help but think, how is the counselor reacting and what is she doing? And I just kept thinking of her, and I'm gonna ask her when we come back. I just didn't want to be too invasive because I know it was a lot for them too, but I'm just very curious how a counselor would respond to that. Okay, let me go to the next part. Okay, so yes, that goes along with an issue that we were having. What supports or resources do you think is missing in our program? And I think it's the counseling, the building level changes, attending to the students' needs on behalf of the counselor and what she's doing. Okay, this kind of goes along with what I did say. What areas are underdeveloped, and what resources do you believe would be useful to grow them? So I would say, again, it's just the counselor having time to meet with students. I think that's the biggest issue. Another big issue that we have is the student population. Our school is a very growing school. We have almost 700 students. It's an elementary school. And we have almost 700 students because we get a lot of transfers from a nearby school, because a lot of the parents don't want the kids going to that school. So we got a lot of the kids from that school. Now we have portables. When I started teaching there, we didn't have portables. I've had 23 students in my classroom total this year, along with all the other pre-K teachers. They've had 20 plus students in their classrooms this school year, but it's a growing school, and so I feel like that's another issue, is that the counselor is not able to, according to the student ratio, I believe it was 350, right, to one counselor. That's not enough for her. And we do have a social worker that comes, but she comes 3 days out of the week, and the other 2 days she alternates. She goes to the neighborhood campus, the nearby campus. So that would be another issue. And how would we be able to support it? I would feel maybe making changes with administrative duties, and then also attending to diversity. If we do have a growing population, so making sure that the counselor and the school program is able to attend to the different diverse students in our school, even though where I live it's not much diversity, but within our school and our community there could still be diversity in it. For example, we have a lot of bilingual students, we have a lot of migrant students, things like that, and then even then within our families there's just lots of differences too. We have students who a grandchild is a grandchild of one of the board members. So our school gets a lot of attention too, especially if one thing goes wrong. Like I feel we get a lot of attention, and then we not get in trouble, but it comes back, even though we're doing our job the right way, I feel. But and the next part would be federal and state priorities. I feel like making sure that you do have your priorities in place, because instead of thinking, oh, let me redo the whole office and I'm sorry, for example, we did have our principal, she did a fundraiser to redecorate or get brand new chairs for the conference room. I don't think that was unnecessary to have just done out of the blue without meeting with the staff and maybe like talking about it. I understand how it is nice for that to be the conference room to look nice and have brand new chairs, but at the same time, I don't think that was a priority. What our school campus needed, I feel our campus needed more student equipment for when they're outside in recess, and things like that. So just making sure that the funding we get or the things that we fundraise for are things that are important. I feel like maybe that could have been something that you could have done on the side or at the end of the year for over the summer, things like that. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and stop here, and thank you for sharing. I mean, why did I say thank you for sharing? It's because I'm gonna do a response next. But thank you for listening. I'll see you next week.